Hi, this is Abby with Happy Little Mystic, and welcome back to your free self-paced tarot course. Today's lesson will be all about card number 15, the Devil. And if you've missed any of the other lessons in our tarot deck so far, you can check out the playlist link in the description box below. And if you're following along in our tarot workbook, you can open up to the Major Arcana section and find a place to record all the information needed to fully understand the Devil card. All right, let's get started. So the first thing we'll notice when we look at the imagery is that it's pretty ominous. We have a devil figure taking up the majority of the card. The devil is represented as a beast with bat wings. He's symbolizing this lower nature, ego, materialism, and unchecked desires. We'll notice between his horns here, we have an inverted pentagram on his forehead, and this is representing misuse, power, and spiritual imbalance. Below the devil, we have a man and woman present, very similar to our Lovers card, number 6 here. The difference is, in the Devil card, these two figures are chained to a pedestal. And this is symbolizing bondage or addiction. We'll notice, though, that the chains are loose, and this could indicate that they can leave if they choose. This bondage is often self-imposed. So the man and woman, again, similar to the Lovers card, appear with no clothes on. They do, however, have tails. There are grapes here on the woman's tail, and this could symbolize indulgence. And then there are flames over here on the man's tail, and this could symbolize desire. Again, very similar to the Lover's card, with the grapes in the tree near the woman, and then the flames in the tree near the man. There's very much a shadow, distorted version of the Lover's card here, and we'll talk more about the connection between the Devil and the Lovers in the connections to other cards section at the end of the video. So we have the black background here, and this has not shown up yet in our Major Arcana. And this is suggesting ignorance, fear, and unconsciousness. The Devil's holding a torch, and it's pointed downward toward the tail of the man right here. This is fueling the chains of desire rather than lighting a path upward. So this is symbolizing energy directed toward control or ego rather than enlightenment. So as mentioned earlier, this inverted pentagram up here between the horns of the devil is symbolizing spirit being overpowered by matter, this materialism above soul. So overall, the imagery of this card is symbolizing being trapped by illusion, addictions, toxic relationships, shame, fear, or material obsession. Yet these loose chains, again, remind us that we can free ourselves. We can free ourselves by becoming aware, confronting our shadows, and choosing a new path. This box or pedestal that the devil is perched on is sometimes known as the box of Saturn. And the square shape is linked to Saturn, which is the planet of structure, discipline, restrictions, boundaries. And what this is showing is that the devil's throne is built upon this material plane. So worldly desires, fear, control, and ego are all housed here in this box. And Saturn's energy around this box is implying heavy karmic cycles where lessons must be learned through limits and consequences. Saturn can also represent things that feel unchangeable, but the Devil card reminds us that this bondage is often an illusion. So again, they could slip these chains off their necks. They're large enough around their shoulder here. They're not tight. They can get out. In order to get out of this shame and fear and this illusion of being bonded to this box of Saturn, they need to recognize the pattern in shifting consciousness. So the devil here is depicted as sitting on Saturn's box because we often get stuck in systems. We get stuck in habits or beliefs that feel like we can't escape. But with awareness and shadow work, we can break the cycle. We can learn karmic lessons and reclaim our freedom. Moving over to the zodiac sign section of our workbook, the devil card is associated with the zodiac sign of Capricorn. And as we know, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, so that makes sense with this box of Saturn here. Saturn is the planet of discipline, boundaries, and structure. We also know that Capricorn's symbol is the goat, and the devil card here is depicting a horned beast or goat So Capricorn has the symbol of the goat, and it's to elicit this understanding that the goat climbing the mountain is symbolic of ambition and success. And that goes right along with the zodiac sign of Capricorn. But in shadow, this ambition can lead to obsession, materialism, or spiritual neglect. So the goat is working hard and is very ambitious and wants to succeed, but in doing so, they may forget spiritualism. Capricorn may place too much emphasis on materialism or being on top. The Devil card really shows Capricorn's shadow side. So when out of balance, a Capricorn energy can manifest as greed, control, being a workaholic. It could manifest as suppressing emotions or having this fear of failure or unworthiness. And those are all keys to the Devil card. So although Capricorn energy is typically about mastery, perseverance, and responsibility, the Devil warns of what can happen when we become enslaved by goals or fear, when we lose that connection to spirit, when we prioritize status or control over freedom and authenticity. And these chains here, again, are this reminder when we aren't aware of these shadow sides. If you've asked a yes or no question and the Devil card shows up, the short answer is no. And there's normally a warning that comes with it. So the Devil card is typically suggesting toxicity, bondage or entrapment, addiction, obsession, or fear. You may be being misled by illusions or these unhealthy attachments. So if you ask a yes or no question and the Devil card shows up, it's telling you no because your current path is driven by fear, ego, or unhealthy patterns. It could be saying no unless you recognize and release what's keeping you stuck. Or maybe it's saying no until you take back your power and make a conscious choice. It's very much calling us out when the Devil card shows up. So in rare context, if the Devil card shows up and you've asked a yes or no question that is about shadow work or reclaiming your power or confronting a personal truth, then it may mean yes. The Devil card could also mean yes if you're knowingly stepping into a material goal and you're fully aware of the consequences. So something to check yourself when you ask a yes or no question and the Devil card shows up. You could ask yourself what unhealthy pattern or limiting belief might be influencing your question right now. The keywords for the Devil in the upright position are temptation, obsession, illusion or fear, addiction, unhealthy attachment, self-sabotage, or denial. The Devil card can speak to materialism, power struggles, control or manipulation, toxic relationships, perhaps overindulgence. So if the Devil card shows up in the upright position, it could be representing that you're being trapped by illusion, bound by unhealthy patterns, or controlled by fear, temptation, or desire. So it often appears dark or intimidating, but it holds this deep transformational potential. It really is helpful in that it's illuminating where you're giving your power away. It calls us out. So when the Devil shows up, it's asking us to really look within and find where we may have these unhealthy patterns. So some key themes that show up with the Devil card are bondage to people, habits, thoughts. But remember, those chains are loose. They are self-imposed or illusionary. Temptation and overindulgence, so addiction, obsession, lust, or greed. Another key theme would be power struggles, including manipulation or control in relationships or environments. This could also indicate this fear-based thinking, so limiting beliefs, scarcity mindset, guilt, shame. And a key theme for the Devil would definitely be repression of your shadow. So this could be signaling aspects of yourself that you're denying or disowning. So the Devil isn't just external. It can also be this internal saboteur. So your ego, fear, or desires that are keeping you stuck. There is a reminder here that freedom is always possible. A question you may want to ask yourself is, where in your life are you feeling powerless? And what truth are you avoiding that could set you free? If the Devil card shows up in a career or finance reading, it highlights the unhealthy attachments, power struggles, or toxic ambition, going back to the Capricorn energy here. It often points to external pressure or internal patterns that are leading to stress, burnout, or unethical choices. It could indicate a toxic work environment, feeling trapped in a job or career path. Perhaps you're overworking or you have burnout due to fear or ambition. Maybe you're compromising values for money or status or approval. The devil could be indicating this addiction to success or being recognized and having control. It could also be pinpointing this fear of failure or unworthiness that's driving your choices. If the devil card shows up in a career or finance reading, it could be telling you that you're staying stuck due to this fear or self-doubt of financial freedom. So the advice when the devil card shows up in a career or finance reading is to reevaluate your motivations. Are they rooted in fear, ego, or pressure? So break free from those toxic patterns. Seek clarity and reclaim your power. If the devil shows up in a love or romance reading, it often signals intense attraction mixed with unhealthy patterns, codependency, or emotional bondage. So it's asking you to look honestly at whether the relationship is empowering or controlling and consuming. So if you're in a relationship and the devil card shows up, it could indicate these toxic dynamics, manipulation, jealousy, control, or power struggles. It could indicate codependency or fear of being alone. There could also be an addictive or obsessive attachment going on. This is lust over love, so physical chemistry masking emotional distance. The devil card could also indicate that you're staying in a relationship out of guilt, fear, or habit. So a quote here that I noted is, "The passion may be real, but so is the shadow. So are you in love or addicted to the feeling of being wanted or needed?" If you're single and the devil card shows up, you could be attracting partners based on wounds, not worth. So you could be repeating toxic patterns in dating. There could be an obsession going on with a specific person or outcome. The devil could indicate letting fear or low self-esteem dictate your choices. And it could also be a warning of a tempting but harmful connection ahead. So the devil card definitely invites you to face your relationship patterns honestly. So what chains are you mistaking for love? What part of you still believes you must earn love through pain, sacrifice, or control? Moving over to the numerology section of our workbook, the devil card is number 15. And 15 combines the energy of 1, which is individual will and initiation, with the number 5, which is all about change, desire, and chaos. It's reflecting personal choices driven by desire, temptation, and freedom versus restraint. So that goes right along with our chains here and the willingness to take the chains off. The number 15 can suggest a crucial turning point. So will you break free or stay bound? 15 is a number of seduction, free will, and karmic choice. So it tests your power to choose your higher path. In numerology, when we add the 1 and 5, 15 reduces to the number 6. And 6 is the number of our Lovers card here. And the devil, like I said earlier, is considered the shadow of the lovers, where love becomes control, union becomes bondage, and choice becomes fear-based. So the lovers represents the sacred union, and the devil reveals attachment without freedom. So the devil, number 15, reducing to 6, is teaching that every soul has free will, but that true freedom comes when you break through illusion and reclaim your personal power. If the devil card shows up in reverse in a reading and you're choosing to read reversals, this is indicating a shift in energy from being stuck or trapped to breaking free and gaining awareness. So it's signaling release, liberation, and this reclaiming of personal power. The key themes associated with the devil in reverse would be breaking free from addiction or unhealthy patterns, overcoming fear, control, or manipulation. Perhaps it's indicating this awareness of the shadow self or ego traps. You could be detaching from toxic relationships or environments. You may be releasing guilt, shame, or limiting beliefs. The devil in reverse could indicate that you've made a choice, a conscious choice for empowerment. You're healing karmic bonds or cycles, and you're seeing through illusions and temptations. So it's a very good card to receive in the reverse position. You're ready to confront your shadows and step out of bondage. You're ready to slip the chains off, whether that's mental, emotional, or physical. This is a card of hope and transformation. It's reminding you that freedom is always possible. And I like how when the Devil card is flipped into the reverse position, the chains would be able to slip off these two figures here. So it's an excellent card to receive and a nice reminder. Okay, now looking over to the connections to other cards section. The Devil card does connect to a few of our other Major Arcana cards. The biggest one would be the Lovers that I've mentioned a few times already in the video. But I want to take a deeper look into the symbolism between the two and how they really do mirror one another. So starting at the top, we have our figure above. So in the Lovers card, we have our angel, Archangel Raphael, our divine guide. And then in our Devil card, we have our horned devil figure with the bat wings. And he's attributed with this false authority and ego. The setting in the Lovers is bright and open, almost like this Garden of Eden. And then in our Devil card, we have this dark, enclosed, almost cave-like background. In both cards, we do have the man and woman. In our Lovers card, they are free, without clothes. They're looking up to the angel for guidance. And then in our Devil card, they are chained without clothes and they're looking away or down. So both cards are about connection. And in the Lovers card, it's based on love, choice, spiritual union. And then in the Devil card, it's based on fear, attachment, or addiction. We'll notice in the Lovers card, there are no chains connecting the male and female. So free will is emphasized in this card. Whereas in the Devil card, the chains are present. Though loose, they suggest the illusion of bondage. Some different symbols here that we have are the tree of knowledge with the snake next to the woman here, and then the tree of life with the flames next to the man. And then again with the Devil card, we have the grapes with the woman's tail here, indicating indulgence, and then the fire with the man's tail here, indicating desire. The Lovers card is showing us spirit over matter, so this divine connection. And then the Devil card is showing us matter over spirit, so materialism and control. The Devil card is also connected to the Hierophant. The Hierophant is symbolizing tradition, structure, and societal roles. And the Devil can represent that rebellion against or entrapment within those rules. So especially when the traditions become limiting or dogmatic. Together, they both explore the tension between social conformity and this personal freedom, this being the shadow side of the Hierophant. The Devil card is also associated with the Death card, and both of these cards would be considered maybe one of the scariest to receive in a reading. But it's interesting because, as we now know, the Death card signifies transformation and rebirth. So it's actually the breaking free from the devil's chains. It often requires the death of old patterns, fears, or attachment. And finally, we have the Strength card connecting to the Devil. And strength, as we remember, embodies inner courage, self-control, and taming the beast within. And the Devil reveals the beast or shadow side that strength must master. So the dynamic between these cards is about overcoming inner demons with compassion and willpower. For the personal insights and reflection section, a couple of things that I noted is basically the Devil card isn't a final sentence. So although it is a scary card to show up in our reading, it really is calling us out. It's helpful because it's pinpointing or highlighting where we may be unaware of what's going on, whether internally or externally. It's a call to self-awareness, courage, this transformation. The Devil card is challenging us to face uncomfortable truths so that we can reclaim our power and live more authentically. So although it is a scary card to show up, it really may be one of the most helpful cards, especially if we're headed down the wrong path. And what I love about this card is that it isn't the end-all be-all. It isn't, you've messed up and it's too bad. It's reminding us that, yes, we may be in this situation, this crisis, this bondage, this addiction, these limiting thoughts or mindsets, but we have the power, we have that personal power within to release ourselves. It is up to us. All of those things are self-imposed. We may feel that we are chained to this box here beneath the Devil, but we're actually not. And it's not necessarily easy to see that and become aware, but it is doable. And others have done it and we can do it. And this card here is highlighting areas in our life that may require us to do that, to take a deep look within, to face our shadows in this cave so that we can rise above, so that we can find the light. So a couple of reflection questions that I listed in this section are, where am I giving my power away? So the devil is asking us to identify areas in our life where we may feel trapped or controlled by habits or people, fears or desires. It's also asking us, what illusions am I holding on to? So these chains here are the illusions that are binding us, these self-imposed limitations. So we're being asked when this card shows up to reflect on what beliefs or stories keep us stuck. If we want change, what is holding us back? And quite often, if not all the time, it really is our belief in something. If we can change our perspective, as we saw in the Hanged Man, and then shed our skin with our Death card, find the balance and alchemize those energies with the Temperance card, we are then led to this Devil, where we can release these chains, these self-imposed beliefs that no longer serve us. Another question I listed here is, am I aware of my shadow self? So the Devil invites you to meet your shadow, the parts of yourself that you're denying or suppressing. It's asking you to integrate them with compassion rather than judgment. The first step is acknowledging our shadow, is naming our behaviors, our feelings. Once we shed light on them and we illuminate them, we can come out from this cave and we can integrate those shadows. We can own them. We can understand ourselves better. We can release the addictions we may have held on to help cope with those shadows or numb ourselves from the feelings we don't want to have. Once we name those feelings and let them out, we don't need the addictions anymore. And lastly, I noted, what fears are driving my choices? So fear of loss, failure, rejection, or change, that can often trap us. But quite often, fear is an illusion. It's an adopted, conditioned mindset that we've gained through life. The Devil card may be telling us it's time to let those beliefs go. It's time to gain a new perspective and shed what no longer serves us. All right, let's take time now to look at how the Devil card shows up in some other tarot decks that I have. So the first deck we'll talk about is Radleigh Valentine's Guardian Angel Messages Tarot. And in this deck, card number 15 is known as Ego versus the Devil. And I like how Radleigh Valentine used this term to describe the Devil. It's a little less scary, which was his mission in developing these decks, but it's also very much telling. The ego is designed to protect us. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is something we need to keep in check. We can't let our ego take over, or we won't be able to live that balanced life. I love how they depicted here this guardian angel, not as scary as the Devil. There's no chains here. No humans being chained to a box. However, if we look closely, there is a cage here and there's a bird inside. The guardian angel is holding a key away from the cage. She has opened this door here, but this bird still feels that it's trapped. It's staying within its limitations. It's confined. The door is wide open and the bird could fly out, but they're choosing to stay inside with those self-limiting beliefs. Very similar to the chains that the male and female could slip out from. So I love that depiction. At the bottom here, it says illusion, dependency, and materialism. So the bird has convinced itself that it needs to depend on this caged living to survive. It's under the illusion that it can't without being inside of this confined area. I love how on the outside of this cage, it's illuminated, bright light. Very nice. Another one of Radleigh Valentine's decks is the Angel Tarot cards. And in this deck, card number 15 is also known as Ego, and it's depicted by Archangel Jophiel. It says, a false sense of entrapment, being overly focused on material things, negative or fear-based thoughts. I do notice the chains are showing up here, but I like how this person, this male figure, is chained to himself, which goes right along with that ego. He's also wearing a mask, which is showing that he's not embracing who he truly is. He's wearing this ego mask. He's hiding behind this materialistic view. But it also shows that he could easily slip the mask off. The belt he's wearing here that he is chained around him looks like it's overflowing with material wealth, almost as if he's forgetting the real purpose here, being overly focused on those material things. I like how they kept the dark sky here, but it's not as ominous as the black background in this cave. It's not as harsh. It is nighttime, so there is this idea of illusion, a little bit of moonlight poking through here. But we have an archangel who's showing this illumination of what it could be like if this man chooses to remove the mask and look up to the spiritual side. Very nice. And finally, I have the Wild Reflections Tarot deck. And in this card, the devil is depicted in a very similar way to the original Rider-Waite-Smith deck. So we have our horned skull here, depicting the devil. I even like how they have the tree trunk here growing as if it has the bat wings. But the Wild Reflections deck is very much all about nature, which is why I got it. So I do like how it's attached to this tree. You'll notice instead of a chain, we have 2 ropes here. And I do like how in both of these depictions of the ego and the devil, our figures are masked. So this is telling us that it's an illusion. We're not being able to see clearly. And if they were to pull these masks off with their free hands that are not tied, they could easily untie themselves and they would no longer be stuck. So it's this false sense of entrapment here. All right, so this is what I have for the devil. And in our next lesson, we'll be talking all about card number 16, the Tower, another card with a black background. Okay, and that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one.